What is up, you guys? It's me, your girl, your Casey. How are you doing? So, I don't know about you, but I'm always the last to know about book releases. I'm just very bad at knowing what's coming out. And that's why I depend on book hauls, wrap-ups, TBRs, anything where people are forcibly shoving a book into my face. That is how I figure out what's actually out there in the world for me to read. And of course, there's videos out there too where booktubers are just saying, hey, here's what I'm looking forward to this month. And I'm like, you know what? I could do that too. I read a lot of, what's it called? Backlist books, like not really new things unless it's an author I'm like dying to read and I'm like actively always following them. Not like in person, but you know, their social medias and stuff. Sometimes in person, but not like all the time. So I decided that every month I'm just gonna like say, hey, here's the new releases I personally am excited for next month. So it's April when I'm filming this and April still when I should be posting it. And here are the books I'm looking forward to in May. You know, honestly, I didn't think I'd be able to find like a lot. I was hoping for like 5 at least, but I actually found 10 and I'm actually now really excited. So I don't know about y'all, but I have already benefited from this video. Not my wallet though, because I am going to buy all of these. I got a good mix of genres, so I primarily read thrillers, fantasy, fiction. That's what I got here. I also got some contemporary, some sci-fi. And if you're anything like me with my same reading taste, you're gonna be super excited for this one because it's some V.E. Schwab, just like one of my favorite authors, no biggie. V.E. Schwab, you know, author of Vicious, Darker Shade of Magic, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, real bangers out there. She's also put out some graphic novel content like prequels, sequels, mostly prequels, yeah, prequels of the Darker Shade of Magic universe and now the Vicious universe. So with a perfect 5 stars on Goodreads right now and 6 reviews, we have book 0 of the Extraordinary graphic novel series, a brand new series that expands deeper into the world of V.E. Schwab's critically acclaimed novels Vicious and Vengeful. I love Vicious. If you know Vicious, it's not enemies to lovers, it's the opposite. It's best friends to mortal enemies, which is my jam. I barely get to see that in books, so I like ate this book all up. These 2 friends, Victor and Eli, in college they were besties and they decided to research this phenomenon that turns people into like basically superheroes. It gives them superhero abilities. In this world at least, so they're like, hey, let's do an experiment and figure out how this is happening. So they do, and something goes very, very wrong in this experiment and it sends the 2 of these people just like at each other's throats. Like they've been trying to kill each other for years. Super fun. It's a duology. It was originally supposed to be a trilogy, but for some reason that I cannot fathom, she cut it, V.E. Schwab, she cut it into a duology. She stuffed some of the 3rd book plot points, I guess, into the 2nd book. It really kind of hurt the 2nd book, but it's still a really solid duology. I highly recommend it. And now we have graphic novels for like prequels. Actually, no, mistake. I am a liar. I'm sorry. The Extraordinary graphic novel sets place in between Vicious and Vengeful, which if you've read the duology, you know is like a very tempestuous time period between those 2 books. Set in the years between Vicious and Vengeful, Extraordinary follows a teenage girl named Charlotte Tills who survives a bus crash and becomes extraordinary, gaining the ability to see people's deaths in reflective surfaces. Every time V.E. Schwab writes about death, it's amazing. She wrote a short story in that booktuber author collaboration anthology, not anthropology, that's the store, anthology series called Because You Love to Hate Me, which is like short stories from villains' point of views. She wrote a short story which had like personified death and it was very good. But this is a graphic novel, so it's going to be very short, just 24 pages. And honestly, graphic novels never have interested me for some reason. Mangas never have either, which does not make sense because I love anime. But maybe this one will be what gets me into graphic novels. I mean, because I'm gonna read it. It's V.E. Schwab for one of my favorite series. I have to read it. Next up, we have Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. You know that name? You probably do know that name. Daisy Jones and the Six, The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Yeah, big booktube names right there. Very beloved books. I've read both of them. Did I love them? No, but did I like them? Yes. They're just good, easy books to read in between really heavy, like, fantasy books, in my opinion. Very good characters. Very character driven, actually. Malibu Rising is chick lit, so this is gonna be a contemporary comfort read for me. Something I can just kind of unwind and relax to. And what I've always liked about Taylor Jenkins books is that they're not set in the present day. They're usually either in the golden era of Hollywood days or in like the 80s. Same thing here. It's taking place in 1983. And of course, Malibu. So this really famous family called the Rivers, they're throwing this end of the summer big party bash. Everybody wants to go. And like, yeah, some people want to be there for the party, but most of the people want to be there for the Rivers. One of the sisters is a talented surfer, model. Two brothers, one of them is also a talented surfer, the other is a famous photographer. They have this adorable little sister named Kate that everybody loves. And this family has kind of like gained some celebrity status because of just how beloved they are. However, Nina, the big sister of this group, isn't looking forward to this party for some reason. She actually hates being in the center of attention, and she's kind of resentful to the notoriety her family has gained. On top of all this unwanted attention, she also has some betrayal with her partner. And she's not actually the only unhappy one. One of the brothers is hiding some type of secret. The other brother is just dying to get this party over so he can go back to the girl he's trying to confess his love to. And even little tiny Kit, the little baby sister that everybody loves, even she's hiding some secrets. And it seems like at this giant party, there's someone there who's not supposed to be there, and he's there, or they're there, I don't even know who this person is. They're there to meet Kit, and it sounds like for some dubious reasons. So yeah, we got a bunch of tension happening already. And it says in the summary that by midnight, even with all this drama happening, the whole party will literally burst into flames. Someone's turning into an arsonist. I could have made a joke about how California has enough fire issues already, but I have my limits, okay? I make dark jokes, but I will not go there. But before the first spark in the early hours before dawn, the alcohol will flow, the music will play, and the loves and secrets that shape this family's generations will all come bubbling to the surface. So I live for drama, especially family drama. My family drama, your family drama, my neighbor's family drama. I like to be in the center of it. So I'm just ready for some siblings to punch each other or hit each other with beer bottles at a party. I will be very much entertained. Next up, we have a thriller book called Mother May I by Joshilyn Jackson. I've read one of this author's books before. I believe it's called Never Have I Ever. And it had the most insane plot twist at the end. Like, I was enthralled and disgusted at the same time, which in thrillers is a pretty good combination to happen. So this book is a pretty standard thriller setup so far. We have this mom who's gone from rags to not really riches, but comfort. She has a good husband, a good life, a good job. She has two beautiful teenage girls and a bouncing baby boy. Good home, the whole world is bright and cheery. I don't know what that's like. But one day she wakes up and there's this stranger looking at her through her window. She's never seen this lady before, all dressed in black, crazy gray hair, just looking very sus. And so like, yeah, that's weird. And then when she drops her kids off at school, drop off the teenage girls, you got the baby in the booster seat, she sees this lady again, like she's following her. And so the mom, I think she walks her two teenage daughters to like the door of their school, baby still in the booster seat, just a few feet away in the car. But in that short amount of time that she left the car, her baby got abducted, and left in his place is a note giving our mama some instructions on how to get her baby back if she follows these instructions. This is a kidnapping, this is a ransom. Our girl has to follow it to the letter in order to hope to get her baby back, and she cannot call the police. That's very explicitly stated in the note. And she starts to follow the directions on the note, and it's literally just one task she has to do, and it seems harmless enough. But of course, it just has this domino effect and everything goes crazy. But nothing gets as crazy as a mama who's had her baby taken. So, kidnapper, you better watch out. A girl's coming after you. Next up for some fantasy young adult reads, we have Realmbreaker by Victoria Aveyard. You guys remember when I hated Red Queen? I still do, but I have decided to give people second chances. It'll help my own blood pressure if I be nice for a little bit. So I've decided to give this author another chance. And honestly, it seems like we have another Six of Crows set up. Here, I'll read it to you. A strange darkness grows in Alward. I'm assuming that's the realm we're in and that we're gonna break. It's called Realmbreaker. Even our protagonist can feel it. I didn't say the protagonist's name because it literally has too many syllables and I don't even know how to pronounce it. Even our protagonist can feel it. Tucked away in her small town at the edge of the sea, she soon discovers the truth. She is the last of an ancient lineage and the last hope to save the world from destruction. But she won't be alone. Even as darkness falls, she is joined by a band of unlikely companions. Yes, see the Six of Crows tie-in right here? I'll read the unlikely companions list. We have a squire forced to choose between home and honor, an immortal avenging a broken promise. Ooh, I like that person. That sounds cool. An assassin, exiled and bloodthirsty, an ancient sorceress whose riddles hide an eerie foresight, a forger with a secret past, a bounty hunter with a score to settle. Together they stand against a vicious opponent, invincible and determined to burn all kingdoms to ash. Ooh, I like that. I like it when we have an invincible opponent. It also mentions that this book has some pirates in it. I am usually not a fan of books that take place out at sea. I just for some reason cannot visualize boats or spaceships. Anything ship related well in my head, I don't know why. I think I just have issues like scaling it in my brain, like determining how large it is. But I'm quite fond of the found family trope, just like misfits coming together, band of renegades, rogues, outcasts, up against some big bad guy. Love it. Someone we love always dies, and that thrills me. Except for that one time, that one young adult found family book that had my favorite character die for no needless reason, then led to the most unnecessary sequel with the most unnecessary love triangle because he was dead. I'm very bitter about that. And no, I'm not going to tell you what it is because it's all spoilers for that book. Just know I'm not happy. Next up, we have a contemporary taking place in the #1 place I want to go to, Tokyo. Tokyo Ever After. Our protagonist, Izumi Tanaka, has always felt like she doesn't fit in with her surroundings. She's Japanese, everyone around her is white. Okay. She's raised by her single mother. Her single mother calls her Izzy instead of Izumi because it's just easier that way. But Izzy loves her mom. But that love is kind of put to the test when she discovers her father's identity because he's been absent for a really long time. Her father, get this, is the Crown Prince of Japan. Our girl's a princess. I literally had no idea that Japan has royalty. I didn't know. I mean, like, I know they had it in the past, but I didn't know if it was, like, continued. Anyways, history, royal lineage lesson aside, because I am dumb. Our girl Izzy, she's like, well, since I'm a princess, I'm gonna go to Japan then. Bye, America. I love how I said America and I'm wearing like the most stereotypical American outfit out there. Anyways, she goes to Japan. Hopes are high, but it's not as dreamy there as she's thought it would be. She has to face conniving cousins, a hungry press, a scowling but handsome bodyguard who just might be her soulmate, and thousands of years of traditions and customs are learned practically overnight. Izzy finds herself caught between worlds because she didn't fit in America, and she's considered too American to fit in Japan. So what's a girl gonna do? How she's gonna handle all these responsibilities? We'll know because I'm gonna read the book. And then I'll tell you, okay? Done deal. I just also want to shout out how stupid Goodreads search engine is. If you don't spell it exactly correct, you're not going to find the book you're looking for. Okay, next up we have a thriller that I'm probably the most excited about on this list because it sounds really meta. It's called The Plot by Hanff Korelitz. So our main guy, his name is Jacob. And, you know, he has dreams of being an author, but it didn't work out. Now he's teaching this third-rate MFA program. I don't know what an MFA program is. I'm not even gonna bother to look it up because I don't really care. We're just gonna pretend for this segment that MFA stands for Magical Flying Accordion Program. Anyways, he has no self-respect for himself. He hasn't written, he's down in the dumps. And he has this one student who just gets on his nerves. His name is Evan, and Evan's in class and he basically tells Mr. Teacher in front of everyone that his class is useless and he doesn't see any point in it. He doesn't see any point in his teacher. That sends our teacher into an existential crisis right there. There's a bird outside my window. I am distracted. Oh, look, he's hopping. And so Mr. Teacher is talking to Mr. Student. And Mr. Teacher is like, okay, well, if you think my class is stupid, tell me what you're gonna write. Mr. Student is like, okay, here's what I'm gonna write. And he tells Mr. Teacher the plot for his book he's gonna write. And Mr. Teacher's like, oh my gosh, that's actually genius. So he's like really interested in this guy's book now. And Mr. Teacher is like super excited for his student's release date. He's like so sure his student's gonna finish this book, but it never happens because the student died, never having completed the book. And our teacher, like, he was so wowed by the plot that he feels like it's kind of like his duty to finish it for the student. And our teacher guy does. He finishes the book, he publishes it, and it's a hit. Like, our guy, he's riding the high of life right now, but then some years later, he gets a note that says, "You are a thief." Uh-oh. As Mr. Teacher struggles to understand his antagonist and hide the truth from his readers and his publishers, he begins to learn more about his late student, and what he discovers both amazes and terrifies him. Who was Mr. Student? And how did he get the idea for his sure thing of a novel? What is the real story behind the plot? And who stole it from whom? This sounds sneaky and conniving, and it just has a meta feel about it. Like, I can't even put my finger on it. I'm just like, I feel like it's gonna have some fourth wall breaking, and I'm excited for that. Okay, I have a really exciting book for you sci-fi The Martian fans out there. Andy Weir, the guy who wrote The Martian, he's putting out a new book called Project Hail Mary. I have not read The Martian yet, but I think I'm actually gonna read this book before I even get to read The Martian because it just sounds so interesting. It deals with amnesia, and I love that in books. I know that's like a hit and miss trope for a lot of people, but it's my hit trope. It's why I like playing the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games. You get to find out why you have amnesia. Anyways, our main protagonist is the only survival of a last chance mission. And if he fails, humanity and the Earth itself is gonna perish. Can you guys hear that vent? Turn off, dang you, I'm trying to record. I don't need air, I need silence. So, we know our guy is on a mission, but our guy doesn't know he's on a mission. He's got that amnesia I mentioned. He doesn't know his name, his mission, why he's here. He's just cruising. Meanwhile, everybody's dying. He's got zero clue about what he's supposed to be doing. All he knows is that he's been asleep for a very long time. He woke up, he's millions and millions miles away from his home, and he's got no one to talk to besides two corpses. Don't know where those corpses came from, but I will call them Betty and Joe. Betty and Joe are dead, and very, very slowly his memory, very fuzzy, is starting to return. What's it gonna reveal? What's the mission he has to set out to do? How did he get in this situation? Did he crash? Did someone attack him? Will I ever get a boyfriend? All these questions might be answered when we read this book. Okay, next up, we got this book. It's called Sorrowland. I clicked on this book because the cover was blue, and then I read the plot, and now I am genuinely interested. So we got this girl named Vern, okay? She's preggers. She's got babies in the belly. But she's also just escaped from this religious compound secluded out in the woods. So she's running away, probably holding her tum-tum. But uh-oh, she goes into labor because she did all that running. So she gives birth to twins right in the woods. And she plans to raise these babies far, far away from the influence of the outside world. But even in the forest, Vern, is that her name? Yeah, Vern, is being hunted. Forced to fight back against the community that refuses to let her go, she unleashes incredible brutality far beyond what a person should be capable of, her body racked by inexplicable and uncanny changes. To understand her metamorphosis and to protect her small family, Vern has to face the past, and more troublingly, she must face the future outside of the woods. I don't know if this metamorphosis is like her character growth or something boring like that, or if she's gonna turn into like a werewolf or something. I want it to be a werewolf. Next up, we got some more good fantasy, but it's also dark fantasy, speculative fantasy, and it's called The Blacktongue Thief. And because I was curious, I just googled Blacktongue on Google, obviously, and apparently it is a very real illness. It's technically called Black Hairy Tongue, Ligua villosa nigra. I think that's Latin. A temporary condition in which the tongue appears dark and furry. Furry! Imagine your tongue furry. Black hairy tongue is a harmless condition. It's caused by a buildup of dead skin cells on the tiny projections that contain taste buds. Potential causes include antibiotic use and tobacco use. So yeah, See, we educational up in here. Don't be doing that tobacco or your tongue would turn hairy. Anyways, back to the book, The Blacktongue Thief. This gave me some Locke Lamora vibes. We have this thief, obviously. His name is Kinch. Kinch was raised by the Takers Guild. And he kind of owes a debt to them because they basically educated him on how to be a good thief. They taught him lock picking, pickpocketing. They even taught him some magic tricks, so he's kind of like a jack of all trades. But he really needs to pay off that debt. And it's gotten so bad that he's resorted to highway robbery. You know, just chilling in a bush, waiting for some fancy carriages to go by. Just picking off helpless travelers. But one day, he picks the wrong traveler to pick off. He's chosen to bump on the head Galva. Galva's a big deal. Galva is a knight, a survival of the brutal goblin wars, and handmaiden of the goddess of death. She's got connections. She is searching for her queen, missing since a distant northern city fell to giants. Unsuccessful in his robbery and lucky to escape with his life, Kinch now finds his fate entangled with Galva's. Common enemies and uncommon dangers force thief and knife on an epic journey where goblins hunger for human flesh, krakens hunt in dark waters, and honor is a luxury few can afford. I can't even afford apple juice. What you talk about honor for? I really like thief books. I like it when our characters are really kind of like villains. I like an unlikely duo having to work together. So we got a morally gray thief and a righteous knight who is also the handmaiden of death. So that's also some shades of gray right there. I like them when they're together and they gotta do the crazy stuff. And for the last book I'm interested for the month of May, I have The Soulmate Equation by Christina Lauren. I think I already knew this, but I forgot about it until I looked it up on Goodreads. But Christina Lauren, it's two authors. It's not one author, it's two peoples. They just combined their names together into Christina Lauren. So this is an author duo, which is tight. How y'all write together. I don't even understand how that can be done. But this is another chick lit contemporary thing. It just sounds super fun and romancy. And it's also based on, obviously, kind of sciencey principles because it's the Soulmate Equation. One of those dating apps founded off of science. We got this single mom named Jess, and she's really smart. Data, statistics, she's a wizard at it. But none of this does her any good because she can't add up the numbers and make the numbers into a boy. Bring on the boys. I mean, she's kind of had a rough life at it so far. She's got a beautiful daughter, but she's been raised by her grandparents. You know, all those numbers have kind of distanced her from social interaction, so she's a little rusty in the dating field, but she wants the man. Her ex, who is her daughter's father, he gone. He's like, I don't want to be a father, so I leave. And so our girl is just kind of struggling to make it on her own, and she's hardworking, but she's very lonely. So it's time to download some dating apps. I downloaded a dating app once. They kept asking me for money. Anyways, Jess hears about this app called Genetic Ally. Genetically, but it's ally. It's a buzzy new DNA-based matchmaking company that I messed all of that up. Jess hears about Genetically, so I guess that's not the app. Jess hears about Genetically, a buzzy new DNA-based matchmaking. I'm just gonna take a pause because obviously I can't talk right now. She hears about this company, Genetically. They're DNA-based, and they are predicted to change the course of matchmaking forever based on their research. They find your soulmate through the DNA, okay? You with me? And our girl Jess, who's missed numbers, she's like, hey, it's reliable, it's concrete, it's something I can see, I'm gonna try this. So she does the Genetically thing, and she gets a 98% match with Genetically's founder, Mr. River. You know, that sounds kind of shady. I bet he kind of rigged those numbers. That's my personal theory right now. But anyways, our girl, she's not fond of this because she already knows Mr. River. And he sucks. He's stuck up. He's stubborn. And she knows without a doubt that this man is not her soulmate. But Genetically, the company, they're like, please go on a date with him. We beg you and we'll pay you if you do. And like I said, our girl, she's hardworking but struggling. She needs that money. So she's like, okay, I'll do it. And so the company, they kind of publicize their relationship. The founder finally found this girl, reporters, pictures, everything. They kind of build up this couple. So I bet that adds some pressure to the whole dating situation there. But also our girl Jess, she starts to realize that there might be a little something behind this standoffish scientist guy. Something that the numbers would have never told her before. Because numbers are stupid. I hate math. Anyways, y'all, that is everything I am excited for in May. That's 10 books. I'm probably not going to be able to read them all in May. Definitely. My TBR is already big already, and it's already just April right now, so why am I already planning my May TBR? I should be relaxing, but I'm not. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, stay reading, my friends.